Hello, everyone, and welcome back to MC 375. This video will introduce you to the world of social media and what you may not know about using social media as a career. So you are most likely familiar with social media. Unless you've been living under a rock for, the past decade or two, you are likely familiar with things like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, WhatsApp, TikTok, and many, many other forms of social media. And yet, a lot of us use social media just for personal reasons. And my use on social media for my personal life is a lot different than how I use social media professionally. For instance, I may post cute pictures of my daughter or things that I'm doing for classes, but rarely would I post in a brand voice or think about the content that I'm posting ahead of when I'm actually posting it. Most of the time, students come into a social media course feeling like they already know so much that they're unwilling to really delve in and learn the differences between professional social media use and personal social media use. But I guarantee if you open yourself up to the concept that both personal and professional uses of social media are vastly different, you will excel much better within this course. So, how important is it for you to know social media professionally? So as you can see from that video, businesses really need social media. Social media has become an integral part of our everyday life. And so, if we are thinking about our lives as content creators and business professionals, it's really important that we think about social media in terms of our professional world. So, businesses use social media for many different things, including connecting with potential audiences, increasing brand recognition, building relationships with customers, selling products or advertising, generating interest in a new event, product, or idea, and generally just persuading the audience. These are not new communication skills for businesses. They're just new platforms and new channels. And so you can see that marketers are beginning to utilize social media more and more in their ad spending, in the amount of time that they use the platforms, and how much stock they put into their social media strategy. Businesses are using social media more. In fact, ad spending in the United States has climbed dramatically. These are spending in the millions of dollars. So, and this year we're seeing $62 million in ad spending by organizations just in the US. And so obviously businesses are taking large stake in social media. In 2010, after years of spending millions of dollars of ads on the Super Bowl, Pepsi actually decided not to do a Super Bowl ad and poured a third of its total annual marketing budget into a social marketing campaign called the Refresh Project. And what Pepsi saw from this 2010 reallocation of ad dollars was a huge growth in the campaign. They actually saw more return on investment by putting their money into social media marketing than they did on a Super Bowl ad, which previously would have been the king of advertising. And this really kicked off the revolution where businesses and large organizations saw the value of social media marketing. So what does this mean for you? Job opportunities. There are so many careers within social media. Some of the main types of careers are content managers or content creators, social media specialists or managers, digital media supervisors, engagement coordinators, social media analysts, community managers, PR, digital marketing, brand manager, brand advocate, online communication director. So you can see there are tons of different things to call these positions, but most of them have vast similarity. But I want to draw your attention to the fact that almost every job these days involves some form of social media use. If you are trying to communicate out to the public, either as a content creator or a brand manager, you're most likely going to need to understand social media strategy. And in fact, for careers that are using social media, there is large growth nationally. Social media careers have been named within the top 100 careers with big growth opportunities. The Bureau of Labor and Statistics predicts a 9% growth in social media careers in the next 10 years, while the majority of industries are actually declining in employment opportunities. Since 2010, LinkedIn has seen a 1,357% increase in social media positions listed. Digital marketing is growing 30% faster than any other type of marketing position. And due to the COVID pandemic, we actually saw increased growth in the need for social and digital communicators than in any other industry type. And so social media managers are becoming more and more needed and also more and more rewarded for their work. The average base salary for someone entering into the field with very limited experience is about $71,000. For comparison, a broadcast television journalist makes roughly $41,000 on average base salary in the United States. So you're talking about a large pay scale difference. So what are the typical responsibilities of someone in a social media career? Well, they vary day to day. It's creating content, promoting products and services, scheduling and planning posts, interacting with customers, developing strategy and campaign, managing budgets, understanding the performance and analyzing the data to be able to better predict success and efficiency in the future. and ensuring consistent branding across all departments. Every job that we just looked at in the social media career listings uses these responsibilities day to day. So, what are the types of skills that you need to gain to get into a social media focused career? Well, the main thing is you need to know the various platforms and the channel's abilities. So, you need to very well understand how Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, Snapchat, TikTok, and the future apps and what they are capable of doing. So, you should not only be a user, but also a content creator. You need to be looking for trends and understanding what works on each platform. You also need to understand analytics. So, programs like Hootsuite, Buffer that track the performance of how posts do in terms of reach, engagement, views, click to purchase rates, things of that nature. These are the things that social media managers do. By understanding the data, they can compare success rates and study user behavior to increase performance. They need to understand trends. So you need to know when something is going to be short-lived, like a particular TikTok dance, or when something will have longevity that you could actually capitalize on for your company. Writing is a key skill for social media managers, including AP style and conversational language. Communication with customers and team members, multimedia content creation, graphic design and layout, creativity, time management, and project management. These are deadline driven professions. And if you miss a deadline, there's no getting it back. If you miss, May the 4th, as May the 4th be with you, you can't do it on May 5th. So that means that you have to be hitting deadlines within this career. It's the ability to handle multiple campaigns at once as well, which is why taking this class as an online class will actually help you because it allows you to handle multiple modules at once and focus on hitting deadlines within the class. Now, in terms of the skills needed, it's important to recognize that all of these skills match up with the student learning outcomes of this class. These are all things that you should be learning within the class structure. So, what are the difficulties of getting to work in social media? Well, it's really what we call an infant industry. It has not been around for a very long time. And so the rules are still being formed, the professional boundaries. Some CEOs and leaders still don't quite get the return on investment for social media employees. Sometimes they roll social media into duties of other employees, so like a PR professional or a communications director, instead of just having someone whose entire work is dedicated to social media. They don't recognize the particular skills and challenges of the work, and so they don't put as much value into it. The other thing that you struggle with in infant industries is knowing how to know whether someone knows what they know. In other words, how do you know someone is trained in social media? Doesn't everyone use social media? Well, this is where certifications come in. And there are many different types of certifications for social media. Three of the most prominent are Hootsuite certifications. But as you can see, these cost anywhere between $200 and $1,000 to get. So I'm definitely not asking you to do a Hootsuite certification. Google Analytics is another certification that you can get, but it's more focused on web and digital and not social media. So instead, what I've done is built a certification into your course learning outcomes. And this is from HubSpot, one of the premier social media analytics organizations. And so your certification is social media marketing, which is great for both content creators and people who want to manage social media. So that's why the certification is worth 300 points within your class and something that I want you to take out into the world with you so that you will be more competitive professionally when going for your career of choice. So how will you succeed in this class? Well, do your readings. Every reading is based on industry concepts. So they mostly come from industry blogs or professional newsletters. The reason for that is I want you studying what people in the field are studying instead of a textbook that might be 2 or 3 years old. You should also watch the lectures and courses and take notes on them. This will not only help you on your exam, but then you can use your notes in the future when you go into your career. I want you to put as much effort as possible into projects. I know because we're on tight deadlines, it is very easy to just do the minimum. But the problem is, these are materials that you're actually going to use in your professional portfolio. And I have had students come out of these digital classes who go into interviews and they have professionals telling them, you have more skills based on this class project that you did than some of my people who have been working here 3 to 5 years. That's the idea. If you put work into your class projects, you can use them professionally and get yourself hired. I want you to challenge yourself to go beyond just creating content like a single post and think about the business of social media, those analytics, the brand management. This will help make you stand out from other content creators who are just focused on the singular creative project. I also want you to utilize your peers for learning through discussion boards. Because we're in an infant industry, it's really important that we learn from each other's successes and failures, which is why you have the discussion boards for the class. And finally, make sure you finish that certification and add it to your resume and LinkedIn. Trust me, you'll thank me later once you get a job with it. If you have any questions about this or any other class information, please don't hesitate to reach out. Make sure you finish the rest of the assignments for today's modules, and I will see you guys soon.